I think what I discovered about him is that he's as awkward as I am. So now we don't even like need to talk in words. It's always like facial expressions. People will say something. So I think it's best to just like keep your head down and work because you can't please everyone all the time. You're not ice cream. There's a certain angle, or they're now looking into my phone from video cameras, or there was this whole thing where people were took a picture of Alia when she was sitting in her house. So it's like, where does it stop? It's gotten really, really bad now.
Would create an app and remove some aspect.
I think I would just remove like filters in general, just like extra editing of things and just keep it more real.
For all film-related interviews, reviews, and content, please like and subscribe to Pooja Talwar. You can also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram.
Hi, Ananya. Hi, Vikram. Ananya, how much in control are you? Flying high. It's actually Ananya's year this year.
Oh, thank you. I feel in control-ish. Yeah. Ish being the operative word.
So, Vikram, I had told Ananya this. I had met Anurag a few months back and we were just discussing. And he says, you haven't seen the best yet. It's Vikram's control and Ananya's outdone herself. So I'm going to ask you the first question. I know Ananya, she is the face of this generation, but what were your reasons to having her on board?
As Anurag says, because you haven't seen the best yet. So therefore, it was about casting the best.
Aww.
So sweet. But the premise is something that we are all living with. Yeah, you would be thinking of something and suddenly you open your social media and you have that, book yourself here. Are you thinking that? It's how we've all become data. So Vikram, what was this idea to get this dark, gritty cyber thriller?
I like the way everybody's presuming it's already dark and gritty. So it came from multiple places. I think the intention of doing this really interesting screen life kind of format thriller, which is kind of exactly how we're doing it over here. We're having video chats and your voyeuristic life of somebody's laptop. Was a really interesting way of telling a story, and this story kind of lent itself really well to that. And just to sort of figure out, okay, how in today's day and age would you use technology or cool things? Or, of course, when we were writing this, it was far away. It was in 2020. We felt like we were writing something for the future. We didn't realize this AI development is so fast. Yeah. So now it's become a documentary as opposed to. But I think it's been the idea of data, the idea of advertising and stuff has been a conversation now, at least in the pop culture, since the Social Network came out, where people are like, okay, do you do it to really share things or do you do it for profit? And I think that's where a lot of the debate's been going on, and there's been a lot of chatter about data leaks and what's actually happening to your data. So it just felt like Control is a way of bringing that conversation to the surface, but in the guise of a very fun, exciting thriller kind of space.
And Ananya, also, in your day and age, and especially for your generation, your stardom, social currencies, all around social media, because back in the day when your dad was an actor, there was no social media. It was all very organic. How dependent are you on social media? Because, they say your stardom, social currency is directly proportional to your social media wattage.
I don't think so, actually. I think it can get confusing. And, when you're in the thick of social media, you can start feeling like this is the entire world. And, I've often seen that it doesn't translate to actually people going in and watching your films. So it's a separate thing. And I feel like as soon as you start seeing it as two different worlds, you can be really popular on social media, but then that doesn't mean that, it's the same way when people come in to watch your film. So I think we need to separate both of them out. And that's what I try to do. I try to see my social media audience as one audience, which can help me, promote my film and it can reach out the knowledge that my film is releasing and the trailer and all of that stuff through social media. But then to actually get people in to watch your films is the real part of our jobs. Yeah.
As I was it's to the two of you, as I was speaking to an actor who said in this day and age, you can't make detective films. You also don't have honest reviews because everything is on social media. Everything, what you do, what you don't, kya hona chahiye. It's like you have a jury who's waiting here. So what is your take personally as individuals?
On that they can't have
social media, everyone, what you decide, what you do, whether you're good, whether you're bad, there is a jury sitting here. You don't need people. You have these bots who are taking control of your life.
No, for sure. I think it's like even first I used to feel like, okay, as actors, we have to do our best to like protect our private lives. But I feel like even though I'm trying to do that, somehow or the other, there's a certain angle, or they're now looking into my phone from video cameras, or there was this whole thing where people were took a picture of Alia when she was sitting in her house. So it's like, where does it stop? It's gotten really, really bad now. And even if as actors we're trying to draw the line, it's not being respected the other way. So I don't really know what to say in this situation, because it's gotten really, really intrusive and invasive. And the more time that's passing, it's getting even worse.
Vikram, what do you have to say? And also with this AI, we had the whole writer's strike, and also, whether the other day somebody told me, ये जो आपकी script थी ना, ये AI ने edit किया. Like I was like, बस अब खत्म हो जाओ. I just need AI. I don't need to write anymore. How challenging is it really as creators?
It is. Look, it is. I mean, so to your first question,
Yeah.
I think social media is, yes, there is a jury sitting out there all the time. But what happens with social media, also the tendency is that because it can become an echo chamber, because the people you follow, the people you don't want to follow, there's always like, there is, in a sense, like there's right wing and left wing. I think even on social media, there's like, you're either this side or this side. I think there's a sense of like which side you of things you. Yes, if you go into reading comments and so on and so forth, but you can choose to do none of those things and still stay within social media and still stay very kind of like protected in a sense, which can be a good thing if that's what you want, but can also be, it also just keeps you close to actually listen to real voices. So it's a bit of it's a tricky kind of scene. On the AI front, yeah, I look, right now a lot of us writers and people are not, we laugh at some of the stuff that ChatGPT will throw up when you actually give it prompts to say, give me a story about this, and my friends are trying to do that, and they keep sending me stories on WhatsApp. They're like, is this any good? And I'm like, no, it's shit because of XYZ reason, all that kind of stuff. But we're laughing now. But once there's enough learning kind of done to this, where you can prompt it in the right sort of way, there is a genuine sort of situation where, yes, AI can not only help you with making things better, but actually sort of end up creating things for you. There's already a situation where the photographs we see, we don't know how much of it is actually AI. And it's becoming better and better, every year, man. And the rate at which the technology is getting better and growing, it's going to be quite a game changer coming. So yeah, the question here is how do we control it? How do we put effective, I think, just gates to be able to make sure that it's not barging through all at once.
Ananya, do you fear AI? Because I've seen a lot of your colleagues or your seniors, the whole deepfake thing. And then also you have AI anchors, you have AI artists who are now part of music bands. You sometimes just feel that an AI would just replace me someday.
Yeah, it's very scary. And it's, I think we've started this, but we also don't know how far it can go. We don't know what we've created, because AI develops so much faster than a human brain. That's what's called artificial intelligence. So we've created this. Humans have only created it, but I think we've lost control of it, or we will be losing control of it in the near future. So yeah, I think before it gets even worse, I think there needs to be like protection laws, or there needs to be something created so that people are safeguarded, because it can get really, really dark really soon.
True. Now, coming to the two of you, since it's the first time collaboration, I want to know, what was the energy like? How did you feed off each other? And what was the one thing that you enjoyed working, that you discovered about Vikram and Vikram discovered about Ananya that he didn't know?
For me first.
Yeah, always.
Look, I think so. The reason, and I cast Ananya because I really, really loved her work in Gehraiyaan. I thought she was phenomenal. I thought she was very present, very in the, like, and and maybe this is part of the stuff where there is this whole, and which the media is fed, in fact, Nepo kids get a chance, so on and so forth. So you're already walking in with a certain preconceived notion about how you want to walk, and it's wonderful when your preconceived notion is broken completely. And I think that's what happened in Gehraiyaan. That was completely like shattered, and I was like, wow, she's great. Um, and so when I was making Control, I called Shakun actually. I was like, tell me what's the scene, and he had nothing but amazing things to say about her. And then And that's what I found, like on the set, like she got it. She was working hard. She is nervous, and that's a great thing. She wanted to really sort of like do well, and that's a great thing. And in the, it's like she takes instructions, like really well, which is like barely there. It was like I tried to just make the set as comfortable as possible for her to work in, and like just throw in, so now go do stuff, and I'll just come in and what was the thing we said? I'll be Google Maps.
Yeah, like guide.
Like, yeah, just guide along.
And for me, I think obviously even I had my preconceived notions that I was working with like Vikramaditya Motwani and he's going to be a specific way and he's going to be very, it's not going to be a set where I can contribute or I can, collaborate with him because obviously, he's done so much amazing work. So I was nervous coming onto the set, but from the get-go, he always valued my opinion and actually asked for my opinion in everything, which is really nice as a young actor, to feel like you're a part of something, not just, to be in front of the camera. So even when they had the writers retreat, he took me along for one day and he asked me, how my generation functions and how I feel like, I would react in a situation like this. So, it felt very collaborative and he always made it very known to us that, it was his first time also doing something like this because I feel like every film that he does, he's always taking a risk. It's never like, okay, he's never safe. And that kind of keeps everyone also on their toes and everyone feels like, they're learning something together. So that, that environment of collaboration and just being very immersive, he created that really, really well. And I think what I discovered about him is that he's as awkward as I am. So now we don't even like need to talk in words. It's always like facial expressions. Yeah.
You do know, working with him always marks a turning point in an actor's career.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
whether it's Aditi, it's always a turning point in their career.
Yeah, my mom met Rajkumar Rao at a dinner, like I think a couple of months ago, and he literally told my mom that Trapped changed everything for me, and I'm so happy that Ananya is getting a chance to work with Vikram. So
You know what Vikram also said, and which I have also noticed, and I've told you, in your case, you walk that very thin line where if you do, you're damned. If you don't, you are damned. How have you managed to navigate it, or do you still feel that there are those who will still not believe what I'm capable of?
there'll always be people, I think, saying all sorts of things. No matter what you do, people will say something. So I think it's best to just like keep your head down and work because you can't please everyone all the time. You're not ice cream. People don't even like ice cream, so even ice cream can't please everyone. So yeah, there's no point trying to please everyone.
But you've totally owned the OTT space, right? Totally.
I mean, yeah, I guess with OTT, you're getting to do a lot more experimental work, and that pressure of, the release date and the numbers is off. But I do want to also, have my theatrical releases as well. So yeah, I'm looking for that balance.
Vikram, I mean, coming to what she also said, I mean, there is this onslaught, actually overkill of old releases. And, the analysts and then, again, the jury is out saying, Bollywood ke paas to content hi nahi hai, kya karenge? What is your take on this? What do you think is the need of the hour? Do you think the industry needs to go through a recalibration and.
It already is going through a recalibration. I think what we've seen actually in the last 2 years, ever since the recovery post pandemic, is the fact that yes, being a star is important, and having a star in your film will take it to the next level as long as the film is good and as long as it's exciting. I think what has changed since pre-pandemic is that you can't get an opening for a film that is just not going to, that is not going to be good. There was not going to be no excitement. If there's no excitement to go see a film, people are not going to go into a theater. It doesn't matter who the movie star in that film. And I think that's something that's been shown. Top of that, yes, it has to be good. So that recalibration is happening. I think there is a move that's happening a lot towards a more genre type space, action, comedy, horror comedy, movies like Crew, which is like, almost borderline heist films. And so there is that, like, let's go have fun on the big screen. Let's go see something really spectacular, something that's going to be a very collective kind of thing. Yes, unfortunately, some of the films have to drop on the wayside. The indies are virtually dead in cinema, but I think the recalibration is a good thing that's happening for the theatre. I think in the next couple of years you'll see this now refining itself into and there's also a sense of diversity. I mean, you can end up seeing the fact that a Stree and an Animal are both such different films and yet have done so much business.
Yeah.
Put together with a Jawan or a Pathan. I think also automatically you see that there is a certain amount of diversity which is in the market So there's no one size fits all, which is great. I really like that.
But Vikram, how has your process changed over the years? I mean, from the time you're first down to now.
So I I'm the kind of kid who grew up watching a lot of like James Cameron films and like Terminator 2, Die Hard, Back to the Future. Like these were my sort of bread and butter kind of like as a kid, and as a teenager. And then you had the 90s where you suddenly had guys like Quentin Tarantino and Danny Boyle and Christopher Nolan coming up and making their movies, and we were the DVD generation. We suddenly discovered all our cinema through DVDs and LDs, and then I was like, oh, chalo, let's go and see all these kind of movies. Um, but we could never kind of make those films in India. Since you always had to sort of like you always had to have okay, you want to make that, you can't do sci-fi, you can't do this, you can't do big action, you always have to kind of temper it into the one size fits all. I think that has changed, and now is a good time to sort of like make those kind of movies, I believe, over here. So I feel that yes, I also want to do theatrical stuff, big ticket kind of theatrical stuff, which I think is like a great time for doing the kind of stuff that I really grew up on, that I really love right now. So that's why I've been doing things which whether in the genre space, whether it's control, whether it's trapped, whether it's AK versus AK, which you can have fun with, and they are quirky and they're interesting, and they sort of pushing the envelope and pushing the right buttons. And then in the series world, it's like doing the big ticket series stuff, which is also great. And I love that series world. I love watching series, and therefore you also like making that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to just find that, and it's fun. I'm just balancing, doing whatever I feel
I
like.
like the way he's just like, cool, jaise aa raha hai, take it as it comes. Really nice. That's the attitude. But Ananya, tell me something. As a young actor, you have managed to like pick up. There's a Gehraiyaan, there's a Kho Gaye Hum Kahan. You've got control. You did a Bay. Do you feel somewhere there's also a gender genre bias? Because I just would love to see you doing a Lara Croft like thing. That is, unless you want to do it or not. But or do like a comedy, do an action. Do you think somewhere वो bias है कि अभी हमारी इंडस्ट्री में?
No, I think it's just about timing, honestly, because there are, people who are doing that, if you take, I mean, I can't at the top of my head. I mean, I just saw the Jigra trailer and I saw Alia doing action in it, and I'm like, okay, it's not the typical Lara Croft thing, but it's so cool that Alia is getting to do action. She's doing Alpha with Sharvari as well, where they will be doing the action. So I think it's just about the correct opportunity coming, and I think people are making those kinds of films, and this is the kind of films I'm doing right now. I think I'm maybe filmmakers because of my age, or because of maybe my personality on social media. I'm gravitating towards issues that concern technology and social media, which I also think is very relevant because you know um it's kind of defining our generation right now. And it's important to talk about these issues, and it's impossible nowadays to create a love story and not have even little bit of social media in it, because it is affecting all our relationships, especially people our age. So yeah, I think that's just what's happening right now, but I think it'll change very soon also. I think as soon as I do something in that genre, then people will only see me as that. So I'm trying to, it's actually just about the opportunity and getting that opportunity, and that's why I'm being a little patient and slow with the things that I'm choosing next.
So now asking about what her character does, because now this is two of you. If you could create an app and remove something from your life, which would that one thing be? If you could just, both of you could create an app and remove some aspect.
I think I would just remove like filters in general, just like extra editing of things, and just keep it more real on social media.
What about you, Vikram?
I can't say what I would really like to remove in life, but I guess broadly it would end up becoming just lies. I just think that there is something, there's a lot, and I think that whether it's media, whether it's social media, I think there's a lot of what really is the truth anymore is kind of like something that it's your truth or my truth, and I just feel that sort of like ends up making it. So I just would like to. Oh my, this is very deep.
There are a lot of things that we would want to do, but what is the one thing that you discovered about yourselves through your social media algorithm? Like in my case, I only have doggies. Only dogs come up.
I have a lot of cooking videos, and like yeah, cooking videos come up a lot for me. And
Let's say
that pygmy hippo has been coming up a lot on my. Have you seen Mudang? The pygmy hippo. So yeah, so that's always on my.
I get football and dogs. These are the two things that land up on my. Because we have a retriever, so this constantly. Then because we keep sharing retriever videos with each other, there's like that starts to now
That's
feed in, and football because that's what I'm crazy about. So.
Also, another aspect about making this film green screen, how challenging is that really, Ananya? Because when you are emoting to a green screen also, how challenging is it also for you? Because there's so much of technology involved.
I mean, honestly, I've acted with a tennis ball also, so I mean, I don't find it that difficult. But on this film, it wasn't the case because there was actually, I don't think I ever acted
Yeah,
with a green screen at
we have no
all.
vision.
The way they created this film, it was actually like this Zoom call, and the Apar Shakti, who's the voice of Alan, he was sitting in another room, and there was a mid app that converted him automatically into an AI. So it was like I was always talking to an AI version. So yeah, it was never a green screen. Even the FaceTime conversation, the actor was actually calling me from another room, and we were having it was like acting with someone standing in front of me. So it never felt like there was like a green screen or any, special effects in that way.
Are you anything like your character?
I think
What she
I've
does?
been in similar situations to my character. I don't think I'm a lot like her because she's very, very reactive. She's a lot more crass in the way she speaks. And she's a little more out there than I am. I think Ananya, I'm a lot more shy. But situationally, I think the way Nella feels, like the whole world is watching her, and she feels embarrassed because of that. I feel like I felt those things in life. Yeah.
Yeah. So Vikram, I mean, the challenge of making a film like this, because there's a lot involved also, but it also gives it's an immersive experience actually, basically an immersive experience.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we wanted to make it for Ananya when we were shooting. So, as she said, like when we were, so it's all happening on the screen. There's a control app which is her talking to the AI characters. Other things happening. The erasing is actually happening on that one, at the same time. So we had the AI talking to her like she's talking to an AI. Everything was happening live. There were prompts that we were feeding it into a computer, so she was doing all the searching herself. She was doing all the typing herself. It became immersive for her, but also from an audience perspective, it starts to become very immersive because it is voyeuristic. It's like watching the screen right now where you're like, I'm talking, so the green thing is on, but you're focusing on that, or I'm focusing on you. I think so. One is that we made it very easy for that, and then two is afterwards. The wonderful part of this, it's so easy to shoot these things. You put that on and you put a camera on top of it, so you have all your footage is individual. You can all put it together. You can speed it up. You can slow it down. And then later is where the filmmaking really happens afterwards. There was no like shot breakdown before that saying, okay, long shot closer. The long shot closer came after we even shot the whole
Wow.
thing.
Wow.
Then we're like, okay, fine, long shot. And now someone was talking, now let's go close up there, or let's move from here to there, which was quite fun. It was very liberating also, to not have to worry about those things. It was more about working with the actors and just the actors, so you're just really focusing in that moment on. And again, for me, it's the collaboration of working with an Ananya or with a Sumukhi Suresh or with people who, in fact, my a lot of people, my costume designer, my production designer would always be like, "But you don't say anything." I'm like, "What am I going to say?" I'm not like, this is for y'all to sort of like. This is not a film where one is designing it from a palette and a look and all that sort of stuff. It's not that film. The like I'm like not worse, but I'm saying the more organic it looks, the less designed it looks, the better it is for me. So I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. You all come and say, you want those costumes? By all means, put those costumes. You want that wall at the back? Put that wall at the back. I'm not going to say yes or no.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that must be liberating also to work
Right?
like that with someone who's not coming with so much of baggage extra.
I mean, but having said that, also Vikram sir was very certain about what he wanted. And we workshopped also quite a bit. And it was always a discussion, always a conversation, and it felt very personal for some reason because even after the take would be over, firstly I would be alone in the room doing the take, and then it would be long takes of like 20, 25 minutes, and then after that Vikram sir would come and he'd say one, two things, and we'd have a discussion about it, and then that's it, and then it moved on. It wasn't like ye karo wo karo, and it was just very personal. And when you watch the film, I think that you'll get that feeling also. It's very intimate and personal.
Thank you so much. So now
Yes.
what next from you two brilliant minds? Thank you.
I have there's a series called Blackwater that I've just finished, which is now post production, and there's a documentary I've got on the emergency, which is also ready. So these two things, and then I'm planning to make at least 2 films next year. So
Wow, busy. And
Yeah.
what about you?
why not? Yeah.
I have a theatrical release finally next year that's coming early next year, which hasn't been announced yet. I don't know why. It's been forever. They've not announced it. So everyone already knows what it is. But yeah, that's coming next year. And then I just finalized something that I want to work on next. So yeah, I'm going to start that, which has also not been announced yet. But hopefully I can talk about it next time.
Awesome. The Times of Ananya Panday are here. And thank you, Vikram. Always looking forward to what you make because it always does throw up some very pertinent and poignant points of the times that we live in. So all the very best, both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
See
you.
you. Bye.
If you've liked this interview, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram.